Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. All right, well, let's just get to it. Welcome to the introductory episode of the Trip Tales podcast. This is very exciting for me because I've been thinking about doing this for an extremely long time, and you are here with me as I figure this all out. I am currently recording what podcasters like to call episode 0, which is when a podcaster is trying to figure out what they're doing. So I still have to figure out how to get what I'm saying to a podcast platform so that you can hear it. But the first step is recording it. So here we are. So my name is Kelsey Graves, and you may have found this podcast through my Instagram or TikTok account, Kelsey Graves, where I share travel ideas for families and couples. I am a mom of 3, happily married to my husband, living in Franklin, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville. And so for the last couple years, I have been sharing all of our trips and vacation destinations and deals we find and fun adventures we do through Instagram and TikTok. And I decided it was time to start a podcast, and I will tell you a little bit more about that soon. So this podcast is going to be called Trip Tales, and on each episode, I will be joined by a guest who has also been to the same vacation destination as I have. And together, we will talk about like how we got to that vacation destination. Did we fly? Did we drive? Where we stayed? Where we ate, and even the nitty-gritty on how much everything cost, including the overall trip, because that's what people really want to know. So I'm not going to keep you too long on this first episode 0, but I did want to talk about why I'm creating this podcast, which is because often, almost daily, I receive text messages from people I know or questions in my DMs on Instagram or TikTok about places I've been and questions that I end up voice memoing back the answers. I love a voice memo. I don't know about you, but I often send these lengthy voice memos that are like 8 minutes long to explain where we stayed, how we got there, how we booked a certain VRBO or whatnot. And I figured, okay, if I can just put all this information into a podcast episode, then when people have these questions, I can direct them to this episode where I have talked through all these things. Also, I am obsessed with podcasts. I listen to podcasts constantly. I love all the interview type podcasts. I listen to health podcasts. I even listen to travel, Disney podcasts. So I consume a ton of my information. Like I said, I'm a mom of 3, so I'm often driving. I usually do carpool lines for like 2 hours a day, or while I'm running my Costco or grocery errands, I've got an earbud in. So probably like you, I am a podcast lover. So I figured maybe there is room for a travel podcast. There isn't a travel podcast I currently listen to and love. So maybe this is it for everybody. Okay. So each episode, I'm going to put out on my Instagram or TikTok a call for someone who has been to the destination that the episode is going to be about. I will have them email, or I'll have whoever is interested email triptalespodcast@gmail.com some basic information about their trip. And if I feel like you are a good candidate to join on the podcast, I will have one person each episode join me where we can talk about the destination. The feeling I'm going for is, you know, that feeling when you meet someone new or you're talking to a friend and you find out you've been to the same place or the same hotel in the same city. And you're like, oh my gosh, you ski Park City too? Where do you stay? Have you been to this restaurant? Have you done this dog sledding thing? And you immediately get all this energy by talking through the place that you both have experienced. That is the energy that I'm going for in this podcast. I want people to be able to feel that energy of 2 people who have been to the same place and experienced all these things. And then you may listen because you love that destination as well and you want some more insights about it. Or you may be thinking about planning a trip to one of these destinations and you want to listen so that you can make your trip planning a little easier, jot down some notes, and just kind of get a overall idea of what this destination is like. So I have not planned these episodes yet, but I'm about to because I'm ready to hit the ground running with this podcast. Some upcoming episodes may include Marco Island because we love going there. There could be an episode on staying at the JW Marriott, which is an epic hotel in South Florida on Marco Island. And I might do another episode on renting a VRBO vacation home because I know a lot of people do that, and that is a great way to visit this destination as well. Dollywood and the Smoky Mountain National Park. This is a area we love to go to and have been to a handful of times. I would love to share how we do it, where we go, our favorite things to do at Dollywood, our favorite places to eat, all those things. Gaylord Opryland Resort and Soundwaves Water Park, which is an amazing hotel, especially for a family in Nashville, Tennessee. If you want to visit Nashville with your family and you want to stay there, plus do the spectacular water park, state of the art, best water park I've ever been to. That may be an upcoming episode. Skiing in Park City with a family. Charleston and Isle of Palms. Disney. I'm not going to miss out on Disney. This is definitely not going to be a Disney podcast because there are plenty of those, and I love those podcasts. I've listened to them extensively. But I will recap our Disney trip and I will find someone else who's also stayed at the Polynesian and we can go through our entire trip. I may also have a call out for some of you that have stayed at other places recently so that we can get a different perspective. Universal, we recently did that with our 3 kids and that was super fun. Harry Potter World was amazing. I'd love to go into detail on that and so much more to come. So to wrap this up, I did find out that the email address triptalespodcast@gmail.com was available. So that's exciting. So that is going to be in all the show notes and in my bio on Instagram and TikTok as a place where you can reach me to tell me that you would like to be on the podcast and share about one of your trips. I will always be putting calls out for the next podcast destination and episode so that you can let me know if you'd like to join. I'm really, really excited about this. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but I'm also learning. Like many of you, I am a mom. And so summertime sounds a little stressful recording this podcast with all these kids at home, but I am committed to figuring this out and making it work and making this the best family travel podcast around. So thanks for being here and stay tuned.